Now, if you think of explorers, who comes to mind? Marco Polo? Dora the Explorer? Well, for one young Londoner, his inspiration is his granddad, who loved exploring the world but sadly passed away. To honour his grandfather's legacy, 24-year-old Louis Alexander swam 7 10-kilometre marathons across the world's classical seven seas in just 7 weeks. He managed to also raise funds and awareness for Alzheimer's Research UK in memory of his grandfather who died with the condition. Henry caught up with Louis just after his 7-week swim.
Come on!
It was the toughest 7 weeks of my life, and I'm so grateful it's over, Henry.
Yeah, baby!
My adventures, they go back about 5 years to when my granddad did sadly pass. And my granddad, he was an incredible man. His name was Captain Rick Taylor. He was an adventurer, an explorer in his own right. He served in the British Army for 38 years. He served all around the world, but it was sadly his battle against dementia which ended his life. And when I was 19, 5 years ago, I had this huge honour of delivering the eulogy at his funeral. And the truth is, Henry, at 19, stood in front of family and friends. I didn't know what to say, so I just stood up there and made a promise, and that was to support this fight until the day we find a cure. And as you said, that's taken me up mountains last year, running across all 7 continents, which London Live kindly covered, and then most recently swimming the 7 seas, doing everything I can to raise awareness, donations, basically just use these challenges as platforms for something I care so much about.
And in terms of, raising funds and awareness, what do you make of the care and the research for Alzheimer's in this country?
Well, the truth is, I think we need to do more. I fought early this year for diagnosis. We've got a big issue with diagnosis as well in this country. 1 in 3 people are never even diagnosed, which is so sad and heartbreaking. Truth is, I think we need to be doing more. There's so many areas to fight for, whether it's the research, whether it's the carers, whether it's everything. It's a global fight. And I just hope to play my small part doing what I'm doing.
Well, it is all for a good cause. Let's talk a little bit about the actual challenge itself. You mentioned before that it was the toughest 7 weeks of your life. That must be pretty brutal then, as you've done several other challenges in the last 5 years.
I think it's just the contrast. We started in the red Arabian Seas where it was 40 degrees. The actual water temperature was 31 degrees in the Arabian Sea, which you can imagine it's like a bath. It was so hot, actually, the GPS devices were breaking, so we were having to stop, restart swims because I've been collecting all this evidence to send off to Guinness. We had huge issues with jellyfish in the Black Sea, literally hundreds. In the Adriatic coast, there was that, I'm not sure if you saw, but the unprecedented algae bloom, which is in all the local news, and it covered all the way from Italy to Croatia. And it was like swimming through sewage. It was like, as we all know in life, it's all these unexpected challenges and issues which are thrown at us, and that's only heightened on these adventures. So yeah, it's been tough, been a brutal 7 weeks.
I mean, it's certainly something that I could never imagine myself quite doing. But you mentioned the jellyfish, and I remember with your challenge last year, you said that you were chased by, was it a pack of wild dogs or wolves or something like that? Were there any particularly scary moments in this challenge?
That's a good memory. There wasn't any dangerous wildlife encounters on this one, thankfully, but there were some amazing wildlife encounters. I swam with stingrays. At one point, I was joined by this most incredible turtle in the Aegean Sea when I was finishing just below the Temple of Poseidon. In the Red Sea, swam over the most incredible corals and fish, the most vibrant, colourful sea I've ever seen. So actually, no, this time the wildlife were only a highlight. They weren't a challenge, actually, which was a grateful thing, because it can be quite scary and intimidating when you are out in the sea and you think what's below, because sometimes you can't see anything. Like on the North Sea on Friday, you look down and it's pitch black, so you don't want to see the shadow of anything. So yeah, no dangerous ones this time.
That's terrifying. And as you mentioned there, so many different types of seas, I guess, 31 degrees water, and compared to the North Sea, it's a massive contrast. How do you train for all the different types of sea that you're going to swim in?
Truth is, I'm not sure. There's not really a direct blueprint to do something like this. The truth is, my training changed a couple of years ago. It's not about being the fastest or the best swimmer, the perfect swimmer or anything like that. It's now just about being the most resilient I can be and most injury resistant. So for me, I train somewhere in London called the Body Lab. I do a lot of recovery treatments like cryotherapy, red light therapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, all trying to just build up my injury resistance ability, a lot of S&C sort of weights training, and then obviously the swimming or the running or the cardio, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, there's no blueprint, that's the truth. So I think it's a little bit of preparation as well as a little bit of luck and probably my age as well, which helps.
And when you finished the final stretch in Margate, thinking back to your grandfather and all those who have donated and helped you along the way, what was that feeling like?
It was just a moment of pure relief, and the truth is it's only been a few days, so I'm still definitely processing it, but that's exactly it. You think about those who have played the part, because it's all my adventures, they are far from a one-person show or one-person expedition. Every single thing I do is a team effort, so I've been joined by teams, support crews everywhere I've gone. I've had teams back home looking after and cheering me on, so I think about those people who have supported and made it part, played their part absolutely, especially on this most recent project, because I was also retracing a lot of my granddad's steps. So I went to places like Oman, where he served in the UN. I went to places where he used to go on his family holidays. So I was trying to bring his story into it as much as possible. So while I was in each location, I was thinking about him and my nan and all my family, and yeah, it's been a really nice 7 weeks.
And just as a final thought, as you touched upon there, thinking about everyone who's put all this hard work in so that you can raise awareness and raise money, how important are things like this, as you said, to make sure that we do make a change in how we view Alzheimer's, but also raise money for such an important cause?
Well, that's exactly it. We broke 2 world records on Friday, which is amazing, but the truth is those records aren't for me. They're for everyone affected by dementia, and those are simply, I hope, a representation of the struggle that we're all going through, whether it's the carers, the nurses, the researchers, the scientists, everyone who's fighting this, the people directly affected and their family and friends. There's so many people who are unfortunately these unsung heroes who never go mentioned every single day. I'm very lucky to talk to you like today and to share these adventures with the world, but I simply want to use them as a platform to bring that highlight back to those who are really affected and fighting that fight every single day, because that's what it is, right? It's a true fight, this disease. There's no cure. There is hope for a cure, but there is no cure right now. And for some people, there's not even diagnosis or the treatment they need right now. So we need to do more, and I hope we will.
That's Louis Alexander, who spoke to our reporter, Henry, after completing his 7-week journey across the 7 seas.